Hello and welcome to Chapter 7 Singalong. Chapter 7, which starts on page 100 in the Ottman book, is about the alto clef. It's also about the tenor clef, but we're not messing with the tenor clef. We are looking at the alto clef, which we see at the top of page 101. If you are not a viola player or perhaps trombone player, maybe you have not spent a whole lot of time on the alto clef. And here is instrumentalists, where solfege can be such a help to us, even if we aren't singers. Taking a look at this alto clef here at the top of page 101, we see basically the logic for this clef is the little middle line here is indicating middle C. There are a variety of clefs you can see on page 100, but for right now, the little indent is where middle C is. And the note names of the staff are given here at the top of page 101. Bottom line is F, top line is G. We could have a whole bunch of mnemonic devices or whatever to figure out alto clef, but really what do we need to do? We need to find middle C and then find do. Once we do that process, we can now ignore clefs. We don't have to think about anything and just really remember where do is. And that will make everything so much easier. So find middle C, figure out what do is going to be, locate do, both perhaps the high octave and the low octave, then forget what clef you're in. Then you're just looking for stepwise motion. You're looking for so, etc., etc. So let's look at maybe 7.1 here, even though it's not one of our examples, because they've got the notes written in underneath. Obviously, we take a look at the key signature. We see one sharp. I don't know what sharp that is, but I could guess that it's an F sharp, right? And hey, yes, it is an F sharp, which means we are probably in the key of G. Okay, I'm looking at the first note. Yes, of course, it's a G, and it ends on G. Great. They've done the work for us to let us know that, yes, G, G, A, F sharp, G, right? We could sing this quite easily in solfege. I'm going to put myself in G major. 7.1 would be 1 and 2 and 3. Do, do, re, ti, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do. Right? So that same process could happen to 7.2. If I noticed a 1 sharp in my key signature, my first guess is I'm in G major. Ooh, doesn't begin on a G, but it ends on a G. That one little step helps me now recognize that we start on mi, we end on do, and I can throw the clef out the window. 7.2 would start on mi, 2, 3, 4. Mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So, solfege is a huge help when we are dealing with unfamiliar clefs. I know we mostly care about the prepared sight singing exercises, and they begin on the top of page 103 with 7.9. Let's walk through this analysis together. We see 4 flats in the key signature. I could figure out slowly what all those flats are, but I've got a hunch that that is probably A flat major, right? I could do a little bit of work. What's that first note? That first note is an E flat. The last note is an A flat. Okay, dominant and tonic. We are in A flat major. This melody, we could do a lot of work thinking note names, note names, note names, and it would take a lot of work. But what do we notice? If we start on so, and the downbeat of the first full measure is do, so, do, and then we see this shape, these first 3 notes, that is an outlined triad. I might have letter names completely out of my head right now as I just recognize so and do and mi. We have a huge outlined tonic triad right off the bat. Then some stepwise motion, and then let's skip back to do and we're done. So this analysis step will make it, I think, almost mindless in terms of letter names and just thinking about where do is. This second line up from the bottom is going to be do. And we start. Let me give us our key. And the first pitch is, I'm going to start 7.9. 1 and 2. So, do, mi, so, do, mi, do, re, 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 re. Right? I don't even know what note I'm singing. I know I'm singing re. Stepwise motion for the rest of it. Here's pickups to the second line. We left re, stepping up to mi. Pick up to line 2. 1 and mi, fa, 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 sol, fa, mi, re, mi, do, do, do. Cool. So, as we move forward here, the analysis is going to help. Right underneath is 7.10. I see 1 flat in the key signature. Good luck guessing what key we're in. So what's do gonna be? Yep, I think that bottom line is do. F major, we start on an A. That is to say, we start on mi. Cool. Now letter names could be out of my head as I just think about solfege. We start on mi, and our bottom line is gonna be do. We're in this key. And our first pitch is 1 and mi, 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 do, do, re, mi, mi, fa, mi, mi, re, re, mi, fa, 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 sol, la, la, so, so, fa, mi. Stepwise motion. This is a piece of cake. It's going to stepwise motion will continue for a while, but of course we have this skip down here at the end of the second line, down from mi back to do. Finding do is no sweat, just skipping around our tonic triad. Let's do the second half of this, pick up to the last 2 measures of the second line, right where we left off. 1. Mi, 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 do, do, re, mi, mi, fa, mi, so, fa, so, fa, mi, 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 fa, mi, re, re, mi, do. Of course, I did not warn you from the second line into the third line. Let's just be ready for that skip. It could be something that would make us stop, but of course we're not going to do that. We're going to conduct ourselves and keep the pulse going and recognize that we're just skipping from mi to so. That's a piece of cake, right? So clef or no clef, we recognize that going from line to a line is just a skip, and the consideration of tonic triad helps us big time. So all that this clef really makes us do is add 1 layer of analysis before we begin, then we can set it aside. So next one is 7.14. 3 flats in the key signature. Probably we are in E flat. Or maybe we're in C minor, but so let me take a look at the last note. Now I have to ba-ba, ba-ba. Our last note is E flat. Okay, cool. What's going to be tough about this? Oh boy, it's pretty disjunct at the beginning. Do I have a triad that'll help me out? Absolutely. If we're in E flat, our first solfege syllable is mi. Downbeat of the first full measure is going to be so, another mi, and then a so, and then a do. Okay, great. I can just think about my tonic triad and not worry about what letter names I'm singing. So we are in this key, and our first pitch is 1, 2, 3. Mi, so, mi, so, do, so, fa, mi, re, do. Great. We're back home to do. Do is this line underneath the staff. Going from the first line to the second line. Okay, is it just going to be a step? It is a step. So from do to re. Okay, this middle line, re up to so. I think we might have an implied dominant activity. Re up to so and back to re. Right? Okay, let's do the second line. Here is do, and we have a pickup to line 2. 1, 2. Do, re, so, re, mi. Do, mi, re, so, re, mi. Not bad. What happens in the third line? Mostly stepwise motion. The only thing that's not stepwise is this perfect fourth up from so to do. I don't even know what letter names I'm singing, but I recognize dominant to tonic. Pick up to the third line. 1, 2. Do, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, so, do, so, fa, mi, re, do. Gets easier and easier. Our next one is 7.18. 18 on the middle of page 105. Okay, we see 1 sharp. Got a hunch what we are dealing with here. And if we are in, potentially, G major, do we end on a G? We have to do a little bit of this clef work. The middle line is a C. Okay, yes, we end on a G. So which means our first solfege syllable is a perfect fourth below that. I could count lines for days, but what I'm really doing is I'm putting this first space of the clef in my mind as do, and I recognize that perfect fourth down is going to be so up to do. We're in major, so I know that I'm just dealing with a major scale. Maybe I'll just sing one really quick. I'm going to sing the scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, so there's the key. Maybe a tonic triad. Do, mi, so, mi, do. I'm ready for it when I see it. Our first solfege syllable is so. Let's take a look at when it skips and leaps, when we can use the tonic triad, maybe dominant triad. How is that going to help us out? Rhythm is going to be weird on this. 9/8 time, that's of course compound triple. 3 beats, each beat subdivided into 3. Ta-ki-da, ta-ki-da, ta, which means we have an incomplete measure here, some sort of crazy anacrusis. What we are really coming in on is, I guess, da-ta. Whether you want to call it beat 6, I don't know. Anyway, all I really care about is feeling this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I will ask you to create some sort of pulse because without it, you might lose the sense of beat. So we are in this key, and your first pitch is. So I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4. So do, re, mi, do. So do, re, mi, do. So do, mi, so, so, mi, so, mi, re. Certainly something to practice, how we step down from mi to re. And now, from the downbeat of the second line, we see mostly stepwise motion until this skip across the bar line. If we came on re, 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 mi, so. Okay, just mi to so there into the second measure. Boy, that could really throw me off if I'm not used to this clef. All I really have to do is think about do being this bottom space, and then I'm just going from mi to so. Really helps. We're going to have a skip back down the reverse when I get back there, so be ready for that. Here's the second line. We're on re, 7, 8. Re, 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 mi, so, fa, sol, la, so, mi, re, mi, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, sol, la, so, do. Boy, the tonic triad really helps us in this one. And I would recommend to you, don't even worry about what key we're in. Once you figure out what do is, just think about where do is, where mi is, where so is, and you're home free. 7.19. Let's walk through this process. 3 flats again. Okay, my first guess is E flat. Yes, we start on E flat, we end on E flat. Okay, do we see some triads? You better believe we see some triads. Triad, triad, stepwise motion, stepwise motion. Ooh, a lot of stepwise motion in the second line. That's going to make life easy. Then, beginning of the third line, we see that skip, skip. That looks like a triad to me. And what's the bottom note of that triad? Do, right? I can just sort of forget about letter names. Boy, third line is nothing but tonic triad, basically. And then, stepwise motion back home. Let's split this up. So, we are in this key. Our first pitch is sort of start in the middle of the measure here, right? Now we're in compound duple. 1, 2, 3, 4. But let's do it on solfege. A 1, do, do, mi, so, so, la, la, so, fa, mi, fa, so, la, so. So easy when you have solfege as your tool in your toolkit. Second line, starting in the middle of this measure. And 1. So, so, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, so, mi, do, mi, so, do, so, fa, mi, re, do. Cool. Tonic triad is still a big help to us. Good luck, everybody.